Okay, so one thing I've heard a lot from a lot of educators and folks, particularly in the Edu Hustle family and our group, is we want to earn, a side income, have a side hustle, make some money on the side. So primarily what a lot of people do, what I've done personally, is tutoring. The nice thing about it is that, it doesn't have to necessarily be registered as a formal business and, taxes and everything like that. You can do it under the table, basically where people pay you in cash or what have you. If you want to go further, turn it into a business, then, by all means. The one thing I would share is before really going that route, making things very formal, you want to make sure that you have proof of concept, meaning that you want to make sure that it actually works and it's going to be something that you can continue to do and be sustainable. So the first thing you really want to do is just get started tutoring. Actually start tutoring, actual people. One of the questions might be, well, what do I tutor? The answer to that is, what are you good at? What do you know well enough to the point that you can then disseminate that information to other people and know that whatever you walk them through, they're going to be successful at? And it doesn't necessarily have to even be aligned directly to what you teach. It would make sense to do that because, of course, if you have a credential in a certain area like math or ELA or anything like that, then of course that makes sense to have that as far as whenever you're actually talking to people and looking for tutoring clients. So that's one thought. Also, basically, what is it that you can prove that you know, right, offhand? So if you don't have the credential, for example, let's say that you're certified in science, but you want to tutor math, you have to make sure that whenever you tell people, I'm a math tutor, that there's something behind that, right? What proves it? Have you done it in a summer program? Have you done tutoring on the side before? Sometimes you can say that you've done tutoring pro bono, which is for free. You've helped classmates, things like that. So do you have any expertise, any experience under your belt that would warrant what you're trying to do? So again, going back into just start doing it, where I initially got started tutoring was just helping classmates. That was when I was in college. So if you have that type of background, and now how can you expound upon that? Another thing to leverage, friends and family. Who do you know in your immediate circle who maybe has children or has a student at the level that you're planning to tutor that you can support? This could be a good way in the door because tutoring, like many other things, works best word of mouth. People ask, well, what's the best type of marketing? The best type of marketing is the marketing that you don't actually have to do yourself. When somebody tells another person that what you do works, you don't have to actually say anything because they've done all the work for you, right? It sells itself. So you don't necessarily have to do that. So you start out friends and family. And of course, starting out, if you're just getting into it, you want to be respectful of your time and make sure that you are making some money from it, but you might not necessarily be at that cap hourly rate that you have in mind. So as you get going, friends and family, and they start to share the information and tell other people, hey, my cousin, my friend, this person I know, they can tutor, then the information will spread. And make sure that you keep track of and kind of log in some way the results that you're seeing from the students that you're tutoring. So if you tutor somebody in math for 3 months and they end up with a higher grade than they started with, number one, right? Proof of growth. Or they simply end up just excelling, right? And they get a B plus or an A and sustain that throughout. That's proof that what you do works, right? So there's that background. And again, the best type of marketing, because that student themselves then can become a walking billboard for you and say, yes, Mr. So-and-so or Mrs. So-and-so tutored me and I got an A. After you have that proof and things start to spread and your information starts to get out there and people start reaching out to you for tutoring, now you can begin to leverage your expertise. And if you have those credentials, you can leverage those for your pricing. So now you can start to increase your pricing a little bit rather than what you were doing for friends and family. So let's say, for example, you start out tutoring friends and family and you say, hey, I'll charge you $20, $25 an hour. But then you get to a point where you now have had 10 successful clients, 5 of which are friends and family, and then 5 more who were added on because of word of mouth from your friends and family. You can then jump up and say, look, I'm worth more than this because my work speaks for itself. And then you might jump up another $10 an hour, right? Or whatever the case may be. So take a look at it, think about the numbers, long-term, bigger picture. Don't necessarily always just think about the hourly rate. Think about, in terms of your goals, what are you trying to do per week? What are you trying to do per month? And then if you turn it into something bigger, what are you trying to make per year if you're offering your time? Because keep in mind that tutoring is not passive income, which means that you're not necessarily kind of just sitting and allowing the money to just come in. You actively have to work, right? You have to actually trade your time for that money. So you got to think about this question: how much is your time worth? When you can put a respectable dollar amount on that per hour, then you will have your rate, and you'll have wherever you feel comfortable to where you know that you're delivering on what you're saying and what you're promising to any client, any tutoring student that you have, as well as their families. And you are also being respectful, mindful of yourself, your time, and especially if you have a family, children, or anything like that. So keep all those things in mind, but tutoring is definitely a way to go, especially if you're already a teacher, because when folks are looking for tutors, they are innately looking for people who already have teaching experience, which gives you a leg up and an edge when it comes to that market. So hopefully this helps, and have a great day. Peace and love.